So we are joined from the DMV, Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, by my man, Romario Simpson, financial representative of Northwestern Mutual, graduate of Howard University and Purdue Fort Wayne. So this is our personal finance class. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. We're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools, Madison Central, my good friend Coach Robin Mercer over there, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
No, man, thank you. The pleasure is mine. Definitely a pleasure to speak. I know I can't physically see the kids, but hope you guys are all doing well today. Great professor and teacher that you guys have here. Definitely cares a lot about you guys. So definitely reap the benefits of that. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of teachers that I could necessarily lean on. So Greg, what you are doing is absolutely amazing. Shout out to you first and foremost. Yeah, so I would dive into it today just to make the most of everyone's time. I'm not going to share a presentation. I don't want to bore anybody to death. When I was in high school, I didn't pay attention half the time anyways, so I want to make it engaging. If you guys have questions at any point of time, please ask whatever you like. I'm
Yeah,
really an
and
open book
they're
in
all
that
coming up with
aspect.
questions. They're all coming up with questions for a grade. So,
Perfect, perfect. So, a little bit about me. I am originally from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Was born in Canada, family's Jamaican.
okay.
Came to the States in 2025, in 2020, during COVID. So literally, like while the world is technically ending, I picked up and moved countries. The reason for that being is because I came here on a full scholarship to Purdue Fort Wayne University, where I was a student athlete for 4 years. What drove that is I honestly, full transparency, did not want to go to college. I was the first person in my family to go to college abroad and then to even try to get a master's degree. So that was big for me. The only reason why I really went was sports. I was really good at soccer. I was nationally ranked. The team I was on was internationally ranked. I was the best person in my high school, one of the best people in my city. Humble brag, yeah. But from there, the only reason why I decided to take soccer and school seriously was when I was 17 in grade 11, one of my closest friends was actually murdered. So that took my life for a complete spin. The direction I was going in wasn't the greatest. So I definitely had a conversation with my mom, sat down and said that I want X, Y, Z out of life. So that's when I actually, as many of us say now, lock in and went to Purdue, got the scholarship. From there, I thought it was going to be up. I was going to kill it, do amazing things. I had two surgeries in 3 years. Well, no, I had three surgeries in 2 years. So I tore my meniscus, fractured my rotator cuff. Um, the vaccine that I took for COVID gave me a heart condition, so I had to redshirt a year. And like as like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air said, like life got flipped turned upside down. It was actually insane. Before that, I was completely healthy. Never had an injury necessarily before. Never really had anything that sidelined me. I was a starter for whenever I was healthy. It was great. From there, you walk across the stage at graduation. Okay, boom, you take the pictures. Everything's great, but I had eligibility left, and I wasn't ready for life to kind of get thrown at me yet. So I transferred to Howard University, currently still in the DMV area. I live in DC now. Played a year at Howard, and it was a blessing, but a lot of things went into it that was like ups and downs. Got hurt again, had surgery at the end of the season. Howard, I would say, is the best decision I've ever made in my life. One of the
Wow.
greatest things that I could ever say. I sing their praises. Um, every school has goods and bads. I will
Yep.
say that, but Howard really was a blessing that was sent from God. Even the way I went to Howard was God. Literally, I walked across the stage at Purdue for graduation. From there, I drove from Indiana to DC, which was like 11 hours. Some people drive longer than that, so hey, shout out to you if you do. Went there, played the year. From there, I got hurt at the end of the season, so it was last February. I went back home to Toronto to do surgery because again, like free healthcare. Shout out to shout out to that. But during surgery, I kind of looked at myself to say like I just want to feel healthy again. So love sports. I was really good at it. I wasn't even the best, like in terms of like my friend group. I've people that play overseas that play in the MLS. I have friends that actually got drafted, which is absolutely amazing. So that was cool. But I just wanted a different path in terms of like I felt as God was pushing me in a different direction. So when I came to Howard, I was doing my master's in finance. Um, One thing I do like to say, I love to count money. If you don't, maybe it's not for you, but I never met a person. I met some people that don't like me. I met some people that I don't really get along with, but I never met a dollar I didn't like. So that was kind of what got me into it. Um, but the biggest thing was financial literacy. So financial literacy has been a topic that has been gate kept in my community for generations. As an immigrant family, coming to Canada, the only thing my mom taught me about finance was have a piggy bank and crack it when you're 18. Piggy banks are cool, but there are a lot of different avenues and a lot of different things when it comes to money that are not taught, especially um, to our community, to people that look like me and stuff like that. So I want to be that change. Became a financial advisor in the past year and have grown my book of business to a couple of clients that I really enjoy working with. And from there, I'm just trying to scale and just help as much people as possible. So in terms of financial literacy, wealth management, generational planning, holistic planning, whether it's budgeting, insurance, saving techniques, investments, which is the fun stuff. And yeah, that's a little bit about me, but I do not like to hear myself speak a lot. I won't lie to nobody. So from here, please feel free to ask any questions. Where's your head at? How are we doing on a Friday? I won't make it boring because it's a
Yeah,
Friday.
and they've already started handing me some questions. But you hit on a few points because I don't know if I told you this before. With the exception of one student, everybody in here with me is an athlete. We have a
Okay.
variety of sports. We have football, track, basketball, volleyball, cheerleading, and all of them have and powerlifting as well.
Okay.
So all of them have have aspirations of playing on the next level collegiately. But I think it's important to understand a few things about that. As somebody that played sports at the highest level in the NCAA, first of all, the level of commitment from high school to college is exponentially higher. You can't just miss practice. You can't just skip school. You are on the road a lot. I know you were in the Horizon League, correct? With Purdue Fort Wayne, you're traveling all over the country, and you can't tell your professor, "Oh, I'm not doing this assignment because I'm tired."
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the scholarships that you sign are 1 year scholarships. You are not guaranteed the scholarship if you don't perform. If you are a liability in the classroom, if you're a liability, get in trouble with the law, there are things that nobody is guaranteed the 4 year scholarship. Now we'll talk about NIL for a second, but just talk about that real quick.
Yeah, so there's a reason why student comes before the athlete part, like they harp on that. And I'm so first and foremost, I love to speak to athletes because like I was somebody who found success in that realm. So I'll never tell anybody, hey, you need a plan B or hey, you need to me, something that kind of stuck with me that made me that go that far
Yeah.
was everybody says, oh, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But to me, what somebody taught me is to put all your eggs in the right basket. So
There you
different
go.
eggs isn't different eggs isn't just, oh yeah, I'm just gonna put my all into being an athlete, but it's gonna be your character. Your grades matter. So I said I was gonna be fully transparent on this, so I am. I was not the biggest student and scholar in high school. I literally scraped by in terms of academics, but I was blessed because again, in COVID, they kind of waived the SAT, certain things happened. But you do not want to be where I was in high school. I took 8 classes my last semester of high school. That was not fun. Didn't get a prom, didn't get a graduation because of COVID. I missed out on all that fun stuff, the party and all of that because I had to do makeup when it came to actually getting my scholarship. Um, and academics is just the tip of the iceberg. You have to be a good person, you know. I've had literally friends of mine not get to go to the school they wanted to go to because a coach will go to your high school and ask, "Hey, I would like to speak to this kid's professors. I would like to speak to the principal. I would like to see who he hangs around with." I had a coach one time from St. John's, which was a huge soccer school.
Yeah.
The coach literally said that, "Hey, I want to meet your principal." My principal didn't even like me at the time, you know? So there is a lot of things that go into being a collegiate athlete. It isn't just, oh yeah, like you could be the best person in your high school, the best person in your town, the best person in your state even, but there's a lot more that goes into that. Even from a playing aspect, when you get to college, you are playing against people from overseas. You know, you're like, I'm Canadian. You know, I took a spot on a Division 1 sports team that could have been offered to an American, right? There's people on my team that literally came from Norway, Spain, Italy, Africa, some places in South America. If you look at student athletes now, it's so diverse. So even somebody who went to our main campus at Purdue University, Zach Edey, was huge, and he's from Toronto. So like those things you have to really play a role in. I'm not saying that you have to change your life around and you have to become like super smart or Einstein overnight, but you have to try. Effort is only on your shoulders. You can't
Yeah.
sit here and like excuse my language, like half-ass it, or you can't like put in 50% of your work rate. Like you
Yeah.
have to put your all into this if you wanted to make it work.
Yeah, and I tell this story all the time. When I was in college at the University of Southern Mississippi, they had played a football game the night before on a Thursday night on ESPN in Birmingham, Alabama against UAB. The band, cheerleaders, football team, everybody. They didn't get back till I think 2 in the morning. It's 8:45 the next morning. I'm walking across campus and I see Marvin Young, who had scored 2 touchdowns the night before on national TV, walking into class. I'm like, dude. He goes, yeah, man, we got back late, but I couldn't miss this test. So even the star player had to be in class the next day. So I think that gets lost on a lot of high school athletes that maybe think, oh, I just halfway did it in high school. In college, these professors don't care. If you're not academically eligible, you're not playing, which leads me into I know we talked about because you're an international, well, completely unfairly, you were not eligible to get NIL money.
Yeah, so
However,
that was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. However, NIL money is contingent on you staying in school. NIL money is not guaranteed. The NIL money says you have to be playing, you have to be eligible. If you lose your scholarship, if you get in trouble, if you're suspended or whatever, that NIL money stops coming. So I know you personally weren't able to have it, and I don't see how that's fair at all. But you had a lot of teammates that had it. So what type of issues did you see with that? Because I hear all these kids say, "Man, I'm gonna go to college and get the bag." Well, if you're not eligible, you're not getting anything.
Oh, yes. And not only getting the bag, but like securing it. I've seen people literally go from zero, because in college, oftentimes you're broke. I'll be completely transparent with you. You're an athlete. You have 7, 8 a.m. practices, sometimes even earlier. At Howard, we train at 6:30. You have to be on the field. It doesn't matter if it's cold outside, anything. You have to be on the field at 6:30. From there, you have classes, all of that stuff. I remember doing homework on the bus, doing homework on the flight. Like that's the type of life you're gonna live. But through NILs, which is a great thing, you could be going from making zero to 10K overnight, literally. Like the sponsorships you're getting, those types of things are insane. But if you are not keeping up with school, I'll be fully transparent, you're cooked. There's no other, oh yeah, but I'll make up this assignment, or oh yeah, I'll get better next semester. If you do not keep up that GPA for your team to be eligible, and some NIL deals work like that too. So they'll make sure that you keep up with that level of academics, or you're losing your money. And you don't want literally a textbook and a test to separate you from making thousands of dollars. Like that is insane to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, because even on the smaller universities, I referee small college basketball, and even they are getting NIL money. So even if you're not playing on the highest level, you're eligible for NIL money in the United States. So that can be extra money in your pocket, which leads me to some of the financial things that you talk about, because a lot of high school kids aren't aware of mistakes that are made financially. And look, it's not their fault. When you're 15, 16 years old, maybe your family didn't know. There wasn't access to a lot of this stuff in rural black communities for decades. And in the immigrant community in Canada and the United States, they've been preyed on by so many credit card companies and things of that nature. So you'll never get an argument from me on that. But now the knowledge is out there, the information is out there. So little things like having a Cash App card is not having a bank account. You're going to have to pay taxes on the NIL money because you're a contractor. You have to pay attention to that. If not, the IRS is going to take your money one way or the other. And then, things like saving for retirement. I hate seeing this meme where it says, I wish they would move the retirement age to 35. Well, if you save your money right, theoretically, you could retire at 35. So I hear kids all the time say, I'm going to get this money and I'm going to ball out. And then when the money stops coming, they don't have anything. So I'm sure you've seen this and it's something that you want to educate young people about. So when it comes to having the money, just small things. What are some mistakes that you're seeing being made that can be corrected when someone actually gets the money?
So first things first is understanding that like I was a victim of this too. It's like you get that first check, you feel like you're dreaming. Like you see the zeros on it, you see the decimals, and it's just like, I just made how much? Like you really stop and think that, okay, but this is reality. And those dollars, from very young, you learn they add or they subtract. And yeah, you want to take your friends out to eat, or yeah, you want to splurge, but budgeting is the biggest thing. And understanding. So first and foremost, everybody, when you start getting a serious amount of money, you should work with a financial advisor. I'll say that first and foremost. But two, you should know what to do with your money. Savings is huge. Cash app cards, come on. Like guys, let's be so serious. Cash app is not a legitimate source to store your money. There's things like high yield savings accounts, there's retirement accounts, there's emergency funds. There's so many things that are not taught to us, but definitely we could learn. I even share like my contact information if anybody ever wants to like hit me up, text,
Sure.
all
Sure.
of that. Like I'm open to always having a conversation, but saving is super important, so literally breaking it down to say like let's keep the numbers super simple. I make $100 today, right? If you have no expenses, what are you really spending your money on? You just made $100, right? Something to me that stood out for me in a class, it was crazy. I'll try to do it quickly. Basically, a prof one time asked us in the morning that, hey, if you got $1 million, what would be the first thing you do with it? You go around the class, people are saying, oh, I'll buy my mom a house, or oh, I'm gonna get the car that I always wanted, or oh, I'm taking a trip on vacation. It didn't hit me till a kid said that, oh, nothing. I'm gonna turn the 1 million into two. If you can, and it struck the whole class. It's like, because as soon as you say all those things that you're going to do with the $1 million, it's no longer $1 million. You're looking at like 800K. So really, you're turning the $1 million into negatives, right? And it's like, if you cannot buy something 6 times over, don't buy it. Very simple. If you cannot save and if you cannot put knowledge towards your finances, then don't do it. Always speak to somebody in a role that you see that you want to get to. So that's why advisors are here. That's why I started the role that I've done. But in terms of like getting that first check or collecting the money, always be smart about it. I was a teenager once too. Trust me, I spent money on like snacks and food and parties and drip essentially that did not matter at the time. And I'm looking back on it like me and my friends make jokes all the time. Like, hey, if we started investing in high school, like we would be like driving around in Bentleys and stuff like that now. So it's
Yeah,
important.
and you can start. We have kids that don't want to go to college, and that's fine. But you can
Yeah.
still start a retirement account at 18. And I always say, look, I'm not near the financial expert you are, but I can tell you, if you ever have a job that matches anything in your retirement account, and you don't put that minimum amount in, you are absolutely outside of your mind.
Yeah, literally. And all of this is taught too, and I don't want to get too into the metrics of it, because then that's how you start to like fall asleep. But like all of those stuff, like retire Roth IRAs, 401k matches, if you want to have kids in the future, 529 plans, like all of these are things that you could search up on YouTube instead of like playing 2K or anything like that, and get that knowledge in 10 minutes, literally. So that is very important. But we do have some time. I definitely want to see if anybody has questions or anything like that.
Yeah, and they are handing me questions, but one more thing I did want to talk about, and we talked about this
Balcony.
briefly,
Yeah.
is uh, you know, I have kids say they want to have families, they want to buy businesses, they want to be homeowners. But anytime you're going to apply for a loan, these companies or these banks are going to want to see bank statements. So that's why it's important to get a relationship with a bank now. There's several banks that have student checking accounts, especially when you turn 18. You need to start getting some type of checking account to show banking history. They're not going to care about your Cash App statement. They're not going to care about your Venmo statement. And look, I know we're talking about it. I use it. It has its place. If I need to pay things quickly to somebody, yeah, I'm going to Cash App. But that's not where I'm not going to Dollar General and putting $500 in my Cash App when I could be going to a bank and gaining interest on that account.
Not only that, that's a great point that you brought up. Not only that, but some of these banks, as a student, will give you money for opening the account. Like that's free money that you're collecting there. Who doesn't like free money? If to me, if that's you, hey, to each his own. That's your body, but like free money for opening an account is insane. Also, a thing that we really need to focus on and harp on that is goes over so many people's heads, credit. When you open an account with a bank, you build credits. Credit is super important. If you don't know anything about credit, trust me, watch a YouTube video, message me, reach out, anything like that. Building credit is so important. If you start at a bank for a year and just have a regular checkings account, they will offer you credit cards a year later. And again, be smart with how you use these, but you want to build good relationships with banks. I know my personal banker by name, right? It's somebody who I could call, it's somebody who I have a relationship with. And again, like that network of people, I want to harp on networking too, because when you build these good relationships, you are the five people who you surround yourself with, right? So I never want to be the smartest person in the room, right? I never wanted to be the greatest at everything that is, there's people who are smarter than me, right? That I work with. There's people who are older than me who are brilliant. There's people who are younger than me that I still learn from. It doesn't matter your age. It just matters around everybody around you having the same hustle, drive mentality, right? If you surround yourself with 10 sheep, you are the 11th sheep. If you surround yourself with 10 lions, you're the 11th one. Don't have somebody pulling you in the wrong direction. Have somebody lifting you up, not pulling you down. That's the biggest thing that I wish somebody told me in high school, because that would have saved me from a lot of like even near death situations. Having a good circle around you is super important.
Now, the last thing before I get to their questions, because you mentioned credit, one thing when you get to college, or I mean, you can't even go to a dang NBA game where people are trying to give you free stuff to sign up for a credit card. Every time, here we're near Memphis and New Orleans. I go to Grizzlies games, Pelicans games. You cannot even go to your seat without somebody flashing a t-shirt in your face saying sign up for a credit card. The other day I went to Academy Sports and I couldn't even check out of the dang register without them offering me a store credit card that has an interest rate of 35%. And then when you
Wow.
get to college, they're going to set up those tables. They're going to have all this garb. They're going to have all this drip, and they're going to try to get you to put your name on stuff. It is amazing how big of a scam it is, and I don't understand how it's even legal. But they pray and they're counting on these 18, 19-year-olds to sign up for something, and then you're stuck in debt that you cannot get out of.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you brought up.
All right, so I do have some questions, and these are all
Talk.
really good. I'll get to as many of these as I can. I like this. I like this first one. This is Taylor Grayson. She's in 10th grade, right? Yeah, she's one of our new students, but she's in 10th grade. And
Hello,
she asks,
Taylor.
even though you were born in Canada, did you ever spend time in Jamaica?
Oh yeah, for sure. So from when I was probably like 2 years old, we used to go back every year, and then I spent a couple summers there as well. So like full families over there. It was definitely hard coming to America because I don't have a lot of family over here. But yeah, back and forth all the time. Love the islands.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, I got to go to Jamaica this summer. That's why I wore the shirt. So I had to honor your heritage there.
There you
I
go.
like this one. This is Leah Smith. She's in 11th grade, one of our cheerleaders, member of our
Okay,
volleyball team, wants to go to Howard University
let's
and become
go.
an attorney. Yeah, so she wants the HBCU wants the HBCU pre-law degree, which I think is great. Howard, one of the best schools in the country of any
Literally.
type. But she asked, was it difficult to transfer from being an athlete to a full-time non-athlete in finance? And do you ever regret your decision?
Never. God chose this route for me. Um, it was hard in the moment to think that like, oh, I'm not playing sports anymore. But I was the type of person who I always cheered louder for other people than myself. So even when I was hurt, I'll still go into all my team's game. You're required to. It's not like you could like throw a fit or anything like that. You still have to support the people around you. And through that, others supported me. So through surgery, when I had my heart condition, everybody else was in my corner. And it was a very smooth transition. When you go to a school and you make the right connections, you show up in the right way, people support you. So I was never stressed about getting a job after. my collegiate career. They help you out with that a lot. It was just the sense where I was saying like I'm growing up, I'm getting older, so like I definitely want to make the next level or the next step in my life.
Big time. I like this one. This is DeQuavian Black. He's on our track team, on our basketball team, and on our football team. And
Okay.
he asked, how, how hard was it to rehab your injuries when you were not being able to play your favorite sport?
Mentally it's like insane. I won't lie to anybody. The so I was nationally ranked going into college, right? I felt like untouchable, unstoppable. My mom always told me, "Oh, be careful," like da 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 da, whatever. I never really listened to her, but when I literally took a shot, COVID vaccine, whatever, and then they said like you have to be sidelined for a year. I didn't do any physical activity. So usually when you're rehabbing, you can do surgery on your shoulder. You could still be on the bike or in a swimming pool, right? I had to sit down for 6 months and not do anything. That was insane to me. I would say though, it creates tough people. Hard times make hard people. And in that aspect, that's where I kind of learned more about finance. I started to watch a lot of YouTube videos. I started to budget more. I started to put my time and energy into other things. But mentally, it is difficult. I won't lie to anybody.
Absolutely. Now, I like this question because I always think this is an interesting topic. And this
Talk
is
to me.
Derek Dozier. He's in 10th grade, member of our baseball team, member of our football team. And I'm a big soccer fan too. I like MLS. I'm a big Premier League fan. And I think it's similar to other sports because there's this big misconception that professional athletes are just raking in the dough. And at the highest level, in soccer, Cristiano Ronaldo, uh, Virgil van Dijk, and then a few of the designated players in the U.S. Yeah, they are. But I know people that were professional athletes that make more money doing something else than they were when
Oh,
they were playing pro
for
sports.
sure.
So he asked, if you had a choice to go pro in soccer, would you have done that or instead of going to the path you did to finance?
That's a great question, and I'll say no. The reason why is because going pro in soccer helps me and my family, but nobody else. When I did something like this, I'm able to teach and educate other people.
Awesome.
I still coach youth soccer on the side, but I feel as though God made this path for me because I always used to pray that, hey, I don't want to just change my life, I want to change everybody's life around me. So whoever I come into contact with, I want them to say that, hey, not only a great person, but he's an impactful person. And through teaching people about money and finance, I'm able to do that every day. I have clients who I literally change their lives where it's me teaching them how to budget, cutting costs on debt, so many things. And I'm so grateful for the path I chose. Um, I'm a young individual. I left my home city. I have an apartment in DC. Like there's so many things that I just sing God's praises for so much. So no, I do have friends who went pro though, and they're killing it. And I want to harp on that point exponentially because before they started making like, and I'll be full transparent, before they started making the hundred thousands to like $1 million, they slept on couches for trials. Like you guys have to understand that sports isn't just a one straight shot. Like you go through trials and tribulations, injuries, coaches that don't like you, people that I've literally gone to trials and people try to take me out. Remember, this is a dog fight. It's not like everybody's gonna be in your corner. Um, Not everybody's going to support you. Like you really have to buckle down and have tunnel vision on your goals because I've had friends that before literally they started really making it, they slept on couches. They literally uh spent their last amount of money on a ticket to go somewhere to try out in front of a team and in front of a coach. So like don't think like there's glitters, but everything isn't glitters and gold. Like there is a lot of hardships that you do as you're trying to become a pro athlete.
Yeah, and even in the NBA, NFL, you hear it all the time about guys sleeping on couches, guys staying in hotels, having to borrow cars, live with their parents.
Yeah.
So it's not just instant riches. So I think it's very important to understand that. Now, you can get the money that you make and do something with it. So I think that's the message. I got time for two more. This is Cameron Job. He's in 10th grade, member of our football team as well. And he asked, what was the biggest level of adjustment from high school to college as an athlete?
Okay, I love this question because I've actually been asked this multiple times before. It's understanding that you are no longer the best. That that is the quickest realization that hits you like a ton of bricks. When I say like I was probably one of the best, like, and this is very humble, but I was one of the best kids in Ontario, in Canada, even for my age group. I used to play against guys a lot older than me and like bully them. It was very simple. I didn't
And
really
that
struggle.
says a lot because we've seen what the Canadian national team's been able to do. So that is,
Yes.
Canada's really on the up and up in soccer right now.
But when you get to college, you are competing against 20 other people like that. I'll never forget, we had a striker, and he came in, our coach told him, yeah, you're gonna be the guy, da, 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 whatever, and he signed two more strikers that same year to go into his class. Like, you have to understand that, hey, right now you are totally good. Like, even when a coach promises you, yeah, like you're gonna be the number one jersey, XYZ, whatever, you are competing on international levels. And you see it with football. There are millions on top of millions of football players every day, right? The percentage of people that get put into NCAA is huge. The other percentage of people who actually play in the NCAA is even smaller, and then the people that actually go pro or get drafted is even smaller than that. I'll never tell anybody that, hey, you can't do it. I believe in everyone because I was that person, and I have friends who have made it. But the sacrifice it takes and the tenacity that goes into it, you have to really realize that, like, high school is baby food compared to like NCAA. And in NCAA, if you really want to make a real career out of it, is not even close to pro level.
Absolutely. Well, I got one more. This is Jarvis Lyles. He's a senior, and he asked, and he's also a member of our football team. And he asked, what was the hardest thing you had to overcome to get where you are today?
I would say the hardest thing I had to overcome was losing my friends. So like the people who I used to hang out with weren't the greatest in that aspect. Great people, just we had different paths. I would say one, losing my friends because I had two friends that got murdered literally a month and a half apart from each other, back home. So that was like my world literally was I can't even describe it. I don't even have the words for it. That was tough going through that at like 17. But I would say leaving home. So being an international student, it was different than other people's. Like we had guys that so my school's in Indiana. We had guys that live in Detroit or Chicago that got to go home and see their parents on the weekend, or their parents could come to their game, or stuff like that was definitely hard to do because I have family that lives in Jamaica. It's not like a simple flight away, or my mom couldn't just hop on the train and come see me. So leaving family and coming to live by yourself, you grow up really fast, but it's super challenging. Like I miss my mom all the time. I haven't seen her in 9 months. Or when I first left, I left during COVID and I couldn't even like visit her, anything like that. In Canada, we had a stipulation during COVID that when you go home or when you travel back to Toronto, you had to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks just to quarantine, right? So imagine you're trying to go home to see your family for like a month, and out of that month, 2 weeks are gone, right? Then you have to like do Christmas, do a little Zoom call or anything like that. Like it's crazy.
Hmm.
So that was
That's crazy.
definitely tough for me.
All right. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much. We thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. But a couple things before we go. First of all, actually, three things before we go. First of all, I got to connect you with my friend, Kimmy Bolatito in Edmonton, who has
Okay.
actually created an app for international students traveling abroad. It's this Canadian based and they're Nigerian immigrants. So I think that'd be a great person to connect you with. Second, if anybody wants to email you about anything or contact you, just how can they do that?
So I'll give my email, I'll give my social media platform so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn already, please create a LinkedIn. There's no reason why you should have Snapchat and Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and no LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional platform and they're getting a free promotion right now. I'm not associated with them by any chance, but LinkedIn is a professional platform that literally employers see, other people see, that lets people know that you're a legit person and not just a tag or a username on Instagram or Snapchat. It's your full name. You go on it, and it's a professional platform that even coaches look at. It's just literally let people know that not only are you a real person, but you're a real person doing real successful things. LinkedIn, everybody can message me on LinkedIn. Um, I won't give out my number, but yeah, send me an email, shoot my email. If you guys ever need me, you guys can connect through that. I'm happy to share with you guys like that.
Absolutely. Now, the last thing before we go, you mentioned about your passion for educating people on financial literacy. And
Hmm.
look, I understand 15, 16, 17 years old. It's not probably the first thing on your mind, but why is it so important to at least be familiar with these basic financial principles as you matriculate through high school into your next steps? Because you can say it's lame, you can say it's boring, this ain't going to apply to me, but then you're the person that says, wow, I wish I'd have paid attention. So why is it so important to get it now before it's too late?
Okay, the last quote, because I'm a big one-liner person, the last quote I'll leave with you guys is the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago. The
Wow.
second best time to plant a tree is today. So I wasn't around to tell my mom to invest in Bitcoin. I wasn't around in the 2000 or like early 2000s to make all these money adjustments to change my family, but I'm able to do that today. And I wish I had somebody like myself right now come to my high school and say, hey, money is important, financial literacy is important, XYZ. I wish I locked in earlier. And you don't want to make those mistakes to say, like, oh, I wish I done this, I wish I done that. Because the biggest thing I tell people is like, you do not go to the doctor when you're dying. By then it's too late, right? You cannot
Wow.
seek help when you're in the hospital bed and then it's like, oh my gosh, I should have been eating right, I should have been exercising, I should have been taking care of myself. By then it's too late. Not to say that you're late now or that you guys should have started earlier, but today's the day that you guys can literally take a stand for your financial freedom in your future. I have a social media platform too that I go by with 10 Toes Wealth, where it's literally about taking a stand on your finances, and then from taking a stand, you take a step. And it's up
Wow.
to you guys. Like it's nobody could push you. It's nobody could make you do anything. Like it's literally up to you if you want to change the trajectory of your life in your future. Not just finances, just be as being a person. I harp on being a good person a lot because what you pour out into the world, it definitely comes back to you full circle. So yeah, money is cool. I've played probably at almost every top university on this side of the country. I've played at Duke, I've played at UNC, I've played at Michigan State, in the IU, Purdue, Ohio State, Wisconsin, all the big name schools, all of that's cool. But at the end of the day, it's who I impact in life is the biggest thing for me. So that no
Love
matter
it.
how much zeros I have in my bank account or anything like that, like being a good person at the end of the day is the biggest thing.
Love it. Well, again, we thank you so much for taking some time for us. Romario Simpson, financial representative for Northwestern Mutual, all the way from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me, boss.
I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Have a good one.